Since Season 3, one of the strongest legends in the game has been Gibraltar. This big boy has so much team usefulness it's not even funny and is by far one of the hardest carries in the game with the amount of versatility his kit brings. So hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest, 8 Second Gaming, and today I'm going to be breaking down Gibraltar to give you the ultimate beginner's guide to him. First though, before we hop into his abilities, I just want to clear up a common myth. His running speed is the same as all the other legends, he's just as fast. The only reason he seems slower is because the arm moving animation is slower, making you think he doesn't run as fast. All the legends run at the same base speed, so you should have no issues keeping up with your team. Got that? Good. Now let's hop into his passive with the gun shield. This is where every time you aim down sights, an energy shield pops up in front of you. It absorbs 50 damage but also has bleed through, so if a bullet breaks the shield, whatever damage is left will then go onto your shields. This is a really good ability for both up close fights and poking battles. We will talk more about those up close fights when we go over his bubbles, so let's talk about poking. When you play Gibby and your team takes a power spot, you want to be able to show presence on your area. That means shooting at other teams near you in order to say, hey, we're here already, don't push us. This makes it so teams are less likely to push you, but it also allows you to level up any Evo shields you may have that aren't purple. With that big shield in front of you, poking teams is essentially free because they can't return any damage when played right. You'll be pumping out shots and they won't even be able to return any damage, wasting their meds and putting your team in a better spot for endgame. When playing the Gibster, you always want to be running a long range gun in order to do this poking stuff. You can swap towards endgame, but for the first few circles, it's key to have this option. And Gibraltar's passive also has the Fortify perk, meaning he takes less damage from all sources. This means guns, nades, explosives, traps, everything like that. He also doesn't get slowed when he gets shot no matter what, meaning he does have a little bit of extra mobility on some legends. But now let's move on to his tactical, his Dome of Protection. This is the ability that makes him so overpowered because this thing is a Leatherman of Apex. It has so many tools built into one. On the surface, it's just a dome that you throw onto the ground to give you and your team a few seconds to breathe and reset. If one of your teammates goes down, you can throw this on top of them and do a fast res, giving them cover to heal up after also. And it makes it so your team can be back up and running pretty safely. His gun shield is nice in this because if a team rushes you, then you can ADS and have advantages on him. Bubble fighting is one of my personal favorite things in Apex to do, and it's one of those things you'll want to practice every chance you get. Play pubs and just dome at people and then get the hang of the timing, or even hop into the firing range and do some 1v1s against your friends. I'll go over more on the bubbles towards the end when I talk about playstyle, because this is an ability that you can easily mess up and throw games for your team, so stay tuned for that. But now let's go over his ultimate, his Orbital Bombardment. This is a grenade that he throws out. After a short delay, bombs start coming down in random patterns inside the area it covers, dealing 40 damage and shell-shocking anyone it hits. Now this ability has a lot of different uses, so let's break them all down. Number 1 is offensive, thrown on a team to deal a bunch of initial damage to them before pushing, even maybe splitting them up, allowing you to single someone out easily. Number 2 is defensively. This is where you throw it in between you and the aggressive team to delay their push or even cut off a spot that they're trying to play so that they can't take angles on you. Number 3 is deception. Use this to make a team think that you are trying to push them, but in reality you are actually using the sound and the visual clutter of it to mask you and your team rotating around them. And number 4 is corralling. This is where you throw it behind a team that you are trying to fight so that they can't run away and are forced to fight you. It's kind of like aggressive, but just has an extra layer on top of it. A good Gibraltar is able to use all 4 in games and know exactly what to do. This will take time to learn, but over the games you'll start to see uses for each one and you'll be able to incorporate it into your gameplay. Now that you know his abilities, let's talk about some playstyles, and Gibby is an aggressive support. You have to be that anchor on your team, the rock, the foundation on which they build on, being there to help when they go down or get fried crossing a field, but also being able to slide into the fight and dish out a ton of damage with him when the time comes for it. This is where I'm going to talk more about his bubble, because you need to learn a technique called aggressive bubbling. This is where your team is trying to fight. You then throw the bubble in front of you, allowing you and your squad to take positive space that is uncontested. The other team then has to decide if they want to let you take that space for free or contest you in the bubble. By forcing these teams into split-second decisions, you can then cause panic and lead them to not being on the same page. Teams that are confused are easy kills for you. But that's an offensive bubble. What about a defensive bubble? And that's just if you or your teammate is about to go down. Throw it and give you and your team some safe space to reset. But make sure to actually use it. I've seen countless gibbies say that they can outrun someone or out-movement bullets and they get hard punished for it. It isn't worth trying to show off and losing. Throw the bubble down and be 100% sure you can heal and be safe. One technique you should always look to be using is a bubble portal. This is where your team is rotating to zone and you start to get shot at. You instantly toss down the bubble and your wraith starts portal. She then runs it to a safe space and pops it. The bubble allows you and your other teammate to heal and get set up for when the wraith gives you the portal, and this has gotten me and my team out of some pretty sticky situations in ALGS matches and high tier rank games. I did talk about the situations for the ultimate, but I can't tell you exactly when to use each one. This is a skill you as a player will develop over time by looking at situations and seeing what would work best. You'll start to see where teams are weak and use the ultimate to exploit that. This is just you growing as a player over time. But I've talked about his strengths, now let's talk about some weaknesses that Gibby has, and the glaringly obvious one is his size. He's huge, he's an easy target, but he does have the Fortify perk and that kind of helps him with this. If you are going to be playing Gibby, you need to understand that teams will probably try to focus you because you're an easier target. You need to have good communication with your team in order to help you live through sketchy circumstances. And the other big one is he's not that good of a solo queue legend. He is more of a team playstyle where you can actually coordinate and work things out with your squad. People can solo queue with him and do well, but you have to really work around randoms, and we all know how that goes sometimes. But where he does work as a solo queue legend is he fits every single team comp and every single playstyle. So no matter what your randoms do, you will always be able to support them to the best of your abilities. That is going to be all for today's video, though. I hope you guys learned a lot and found this guide useful. If you did, please do me a favor and drop a big ol' thumbs up. It really does help the channel and we are still in a growing phase. And if you've made it this far and haven't subbed yet, what's stopping you? We post daily, highly educational videos aimed at making you the best Apex player you can be. So smash that subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified when we post, because you won't want to miss any of these videos. Thank you all for watching. Once again, I'm 8 Second Gaming and I'll see you in the next video.